What's up, everybody? I'm back with another video, and this is going to be more like a long form podcast style video this time because I think this is a very important subject. And I even got notes here because obviously I feel like I'm like ADD and I lose attention, like I lose my train of thought all the time. So it's good to organize my thoughts on paper. But anyway, I'm sure you noticed I changed my name on YouTube to Blue Mosaic. And I will do a video after this to explain what that's about. But today I wanted to talk about the reasons why I permanently deleted all of my social media. And if you know me and you've like kept up with me the past couple years, you know, typically every year at the end of the year, usually, I delete social media off my phone for 3 to 4 months, sometimes a little bit less, sometimes more. I know one year I did 6 months without it. And it's usually because I would just get, it was like a repetitive cycle of the platforms just controlling my mind and me, and it's partially me and knowing myself very well. And actually, I didn't know myself that well throughout that period of time, so that's why I kept returning. And each time that I deleted my accounts, I was excited about it. I'm like, sweet, I need time to declutter my mind, take a break, relax, free my thoughts. And it worked, and I would be super happy during that time, but I would still have that little itch of getting back onto the platforms. And I would get back on, and it would be so awesome at first because I get to re-interact with the people that I didn't talk to for a while, and then I felt good about it. And it never failed, though. I would get back to the same train of thought of like, this isn't worth it, this is creating negative habits and all these different things. And I just kept repeating the process. So this time I decided, I remember last time I took a break, I was like, okay, next time I'm done permanently. I'm not getting back on. And I kept saying that. And this time I really mean it. So unfortunately, these social media accounts, they want you to think about it because when you actually go to delete your account, they deactivate it for like 30 days. So technically, my accounts aren't permanently deleted yet, but I'm not getting back on them. So they're definitely going to be deleted, but they give you like a 30-day period just in case you change your mind. Obviously, they don't want you to delete your account because you will, realize how great life is, and they don't want that. They want you to keep you in the funnel, keep you in the system, and, do it that way. So my AC just kicked on. Hopefully that's not too loud or whatever. But anyway, I'm going to kind of like talk about, just break this into two parts really, is why is social media bad for me? And a lot of these reasons can be, obviously will be relatable to you and a lot of people that are on social media. So it is, these are bad reasons for me. And the reason I say for me is because there are a handful of people that enjoy it and don't let it affect them in the way that it affected me. And the second part of this is, what am I doing instead? What's the alternative to being on social media? And honestly, I could make this video probably 12 hours long, but I just jotted down a few talking points in each. And I could, like I said, I could have made this I could have filled this whole notepad full of reasons why it was bad for me and what I'm doing instead. But I just kind of brainstormed real quick and put this together. So here we go. So the reasons why it's bad for me particularly. And if you can relate to any of these, let me know in the comments which ones that affect you the worst as well. And number one, first and foremost, I'm not going in order of importance, just randoms. But this one I would say is the number one reason. And it's the comparison game. Essentially, we scroll through and we see people, happy couples, professional photography, people going on vacations, buying new cars, buying new houses, graduating from college, doing all these awesome things that are awesome. I'm not saying these things are not good. I'm just saying that if you're not doing those same things in your life and you're constantly seeing those things, you might inside your own head say, wow, like my life is falling apart and look at all these people. And in reality, it's you're on your own timeline. You have your own circumstances. you are an individual that no one else can be, and you cannot be anyone else. So it's not fair to yourself to always, and like I said, this is specifically for me. I would see people doing really well in their careers that are my age, or making really good money, or traveling, or doing other things, buying cars and all this stuff. And I'm in my head, I'm like, damn, what am I doing in my life? And that's not fair to me. Essentially because that could have been their lifelong goal, was to buy a car or a house. To me, that's not my goal. So when I see those things and I start comparing, it's like, well, maybe that's their whole goal. Like, and regardless, it doesn't matter because it's not your life. You can definitely be happy for people, and I definitely am. But to increase their value and decrease your own value at the same time just because they're doing something you're not is not fair to yourself. So that's number one. And essentially, number two is like always focusing in general on what other people are doing. Not that you shouldn't care completely what people are actually. You shouldn't care, honestly. If it's your loved ones, your family, friends, and people that you truly care about in your life, awesome, great. Yeah, you should keep up with them, but you don't really have to. And I was finding that I'm just always focusing on what others are doing, and then that would leak into my conversations with people. Be like, hey, did you hear about this? And did you hear about what this person's doing or what that person's doing? And eventually I'm just like, what the hell am I even talking about? Like what? Like these things don't even matter, really. Like I would be talking about people that I haven't talked to in 10 years, and I'm over here thinking about them. And like, not that that's a bad thing. I'm just saying, like, if most of your time is directed towards what other people are doing, but when I say most of the time, nowadays people are on their phones like ridiculous amounts of time. And I didn't even realize how much I was on my phone until I guess Apple came out with like this little thing on your phone that would track how many hours you're on your phone and how many hours or minutes that you're on each individual app. And like it would break it into categories. And like social media, I'd be on it like 85% of the time, and I'd be on my phone for 8 to 10, 12 hours a day. So that's most of my time during the day. I spend awake, and I'm looking at what other people are doing, and I'm like, I don't know, it just drives me insane. So number three, when you're on social media, you get affected by viral emotions. And I'm not talking about viral videos necessarily. I'm just talking about like just events that happen in the country. It could be all across the country. A cop shoots somebody, and then everybody makes headlines and saying, oh, unarmed black man, white cop, whatever, all these different things. The president, the governor, the school, this happened, that happened. And they're viral headlines and viral conversation and topics that people are talking about. It comes on your timeline, you look into it, and then you start to have the emotions shared with other people, and then everybody just jumps to conclusion without knowing the facts, and essentially you're just caught up and swept up into these viral emotions that wouldn't necessarily be your emotions if you saw this on an individual basis and you were seeking this information. If you read the newspaper, if you dove into it and read into actually what happened in that situation, like it even matters anyway. A lot of it's bullshit. I mean, there are some topics that are worth being involved into, but most of these viral emotions are a waste of your time in life, and they control your emotions. They make you angry, they make you sad, they make you happy, they make you all this stuff. And the problem is it's out of your control. So the whole point of like me getting on social media is like, let me get my life under my control, because I trust myself, and I got to figure out where I want to go, not what the country wants me to do or how other people want me to feel. So viral emotions are a big deal, and especially these days with people not doing the research and reading headlines and jumping to conclusions. So the next one is, when you're on social media, you essentially overlook your own problems, and you overlook the small things in life that actually matter. Like you just totally disregard maybe a conversation with somebody you haven't talked to in a while. Like you don't truly appreciate the small things in life. Waking up, like just think about it. You could die in your sleep, right? And never know, and your family's devastated and everybody's devastated. just waking up. Like, when you're on social media, you're so caught up in what the world is doing or thinking, or what people in your area are thinking, or whatever, or sports, or whatever it is. And you stop appreciating and even acknowledging, and it becomes such a routine that you overlook how beautiful the sunset is, or how amazing the clouds are, or the trees, or the wind blowing, or animals. Like, and I'm not trying to be a hippie tree hugger person here, but the world is beautiful and everything. I mean, just look around and just, if your mind is at peace and you're just absorbing the environment, like, look how amazing everything really is. Like, it's just beautiful. Just go on a walk through nature, and just the smells, the sounds, the feeling of the ground. Like, it's just all amazing. And I think social media takes us away from who we really are and what we really are as creatures on this earth. Like, we become so attached to this almost false entity, this fake thing in our hands that project a world that isn't even real to us. And we're so focused on that, and instead of looking around at what like true beauty is in the world. Also, going back to like the comparison thing I wrote down here, that you assume that everybody has it all figured out. Like, they smile in a picture, or they stand next to their new car and they're like so happy, and they write a very thoughtful caption, and we all say, man, wow, look at that. That must be nice. That's so awesome. But people only put the positive things out online, right? They only show you a projected version of themselves, a manipulated version of themselves, only a portion. You don't know the full picture. And not to say that everybody should post all their problems, which there are some people that do that, unfortunately. But people are only putting out a snippet, a fraction of the whole truth. But since we only see the positive, we assume everything's going great. And when I was on social media talking to people, the most unsuspecting people would message me, because I was out there trying to help people lose weight and all this stuff. And the most unsuspecting people would message me and say, dude, I just feel so depressed. I feel like my world's falling apart. And I'm like, Jesus, I was just looking at your pictures of you graduating, and I thought everything's great. And it's just not the truth. So you think everybody has it figured out. And the truth is, none of us really have it figured out. Life isn't a game that you complete. This isn't a game that you figure out. There is no levels in the final boss that you beat. It's just an ongoing process, and we're all just wandering through this world trying to figure out what we like and don't like, and what we should do, and blah, 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 right? And essentially, the last point I really wrote on this with an example is, society pretty much tells you how you should live, what goals you should pursue, and pretty much distracts you from what's actually important. And this affected me pretty bad, because people on there would post pictures saying, focus on your money, focus on this, focus on that, do this, do that, eat like this, walk like this, run like this, talk like this. And so they're programming you on how you should think, how you should talk, how you should live life. They're telling you how you should live life, even though there's never one way to do this thing. There is no one way to live life. I mean, there's billions and billions of people that have been on this earth, and not one of us has lived life the same. We all interpret life our own way. We all have our own imaginations, our own thoughts, our own interpretations, our own emotions, everything. There is no one way to do it. And I was noticing that my goals were based off of what society thinks they should be. Focus on your money. You should go on vacations every year. You should do this. You should do that. I don't know. It's just kind of crazy. And so the whole point is, I was never really thinking about what I actually want. What life do I actually want? Not based off of anyone else. What do I really want? And I was jumping to conclusions based off of other people, and that's not fair. So the example of that I wrote down here of actually thinking about the things that are important. Think about this. So what's actually important? For example, I wrote being present with your family, putting your phone down, looking your family in the eyes, telling them you love them, just being around, listening to them, talking, engaging, hugging, kissing, all these different things that are normal interactions that we take for granted until these people are gone, right? And so that whenever they die, that's when we put our phone down and cry and realize that, damn, I wasn't even present. So that's what's actually important in life, is like being present, being in the moment, enjoying everything right then and there, not waiting till you hit some goal later in life to be happy. Be happy today. Appreciate today. And so what social media makes you think is important is which celebrities got a divorce. They put out there, and then thousands and millions of people share this, and then you come across it and you're like, oh my God, why did they get divorced? When did they get divorced? How long have they been together? It's like, what are you even doing? Who cares? Really, who cares? And social media makes you replace real important social interactions with real people in real life that you can touch and feel and interact with face to face. And they replace that with a false set of interactions, like a false sense of emotional connection that you can only get face to face, kneecap to kneecap. You can't replace that. You can't replicate that online. And it's false. It makes you think that somebody feels a certain way about you. Like, I know this for sure because I had a lot of people I didn't know falsely and fakely engage with me and tell me how awesome I was and tell me all these different good things and bad things online. And then I started to associate my self-worth with what they were telling me. And at the end of the day, I don't even know these people. I don't know them in real life. I never built a relationship. So I was having conversations, interactions with people online that I've never met in person. And if I met them in person, it'd probably be a totally different relationship. We'd probably talk about completely different things, And so I just felt like it was inauthentic. It wasn't real. And I didn't really like it. Even though I appreciated a lot of like positive comments and feedback and all this good stuff. That's cool. But like, it just doesn't replace the real thing, the real conversations. Even YouTube videos. Like, you might think of me a certain way in this video, but if we're next to each other, you might think of me a completely different way. You might think I'm annoying in videos, but in real life, you might love me. Or opposite. It doesn't matter. But I just don't want to replace the real important engagement in real life with a fake digital version of myself or other people. So sorry to rant on that, but that's just how I feel about that. And also, I was seeking validation, and a lot of people do this. They post a picture and they say, when I get a lot of likes on this or comments, or people tell me I'm beautiful, I'm awesome, I'm handsome, then I'll feel good. Then I will, I'll have a good day. Or if I post something smart, a quote or something encouraging or positive, or just something, breaking news, I just got married, I just had a baby, I just got a car, and people tell me how awesome and smart and funny and cool I am, then I'll feel good about myself. Then the day is worth living. And I mean, it may sound crazy, but that's what I was doing, man. When I was losing my weight, like, my main motivation was to get validation from people online to tell me how awesome and hardworking and dedicated I was, instead of actually caring about what I thought. Like, I was posting pictures of like weight loss transformation just so I can get a certain amount of likes or comments or shares. I would tell some of my friends, look how many likes I got on my picture. Look how many people shared it. Like, and most of the time those people I didn't even know. And it's like, what the hell am I doing, man? Like, and nothing wrong with people telling me all those positive things. It's just the real problem is I was attaching my self-worth and my identity to this online version of myself that maybe wasn't the same version of real life. So anyway, I'm pretty sure that's all I wrote for pretty much the bad reasons why I don't want social media. And maybe hopefully some of those reasons resonate with you and you can relate. And if this video, it's not meant to convince you to get off, it's really just to share my side of the story. But if you end up taking that challenge, I would definitely recommend it. And I think you would find a lot of benefit in it. So let me go to the second half, which is, what am I doing instead? Now, I talked about the negatives. I talked about the ugly side. I talked about the mental effects. But I want to talk about, what am I doing instead? What are the things that I'm replacing that negativity with now? And I'm just going to go through this relatively quickly. So I'm going places without my phone because I know myself very well. If I bring my phone into an area or into an environment or a conversation or a coffee shop or anything, I'm going to pull it out and I'm going to check it every 10 seconds, it seems like. Even though I deleted all my social media, my imagination creates vibration in my pocket. Even if I don't have my phone in my pocket, I still feel vibrations all the time. Like, oh, I'm like patting my pockets. Where's my phone? And it's crazy. So I try to not take my phone into it. I mean, obviously there's situations where I want to keep my phone. If I'm going to be gone, for 5-6 hours, I'm bringing my phone because emergency contacts, whatever. But the next one is I want to be present in each moment, and that's essentially why I leave my phone in my car or at home sometimes if I'm just going down the road. And I just want to be I just want to be present, even if I'm just walking on the beach. I put my phone in my car. I don't worry about taking pictures. I don't care. The only reason I was taking pictures of the beach anyway was to share on Facebook. So now I can actually just, with my own eyes, just visualize everything, just embrace the moment, feel the wind, feel the sand between my toes, pick up shells, find shark's teeth, feel the water, just like everything, it's an overwhelming, like my senses are overwhelmed when I don't have my phone with me. I just feel the world isn't ending. Everything's just amazing. I walk through the woods. I feel the leaves. I feel the dirt. Everything's amazing. And essentially, that's just what it is. I just want to be present. When I'm sitting there talking to my mom, my dad, anybody, and I just look at them in their face and I just stare and I just look at their arms and how they move and how they talk and their breathing. Like, this may sound crazy because we don't talk about it, but just being present with somebody and just watching their eye, look into somebody's eyes and look. I don't care what color their eyes are. It's so beautiful. It's amazing. It's like a marble. It's like a gem. Look at somebody really in their eyes, even though it might be uncomfortable. Look at them and tell them, I'm gonna look in your eyes. I just want to see, and just imagine it. Just look at it. Just feel the feelings of real life, of what this is all about. And I think our phones and social media take away from those special moments, And I wrote down here, enjoying/appreciating conversations and interactions with others. Just listen to people's words, their tone, body language, nonverbal communication. It's just so awesome how we move and talk and hands, and it's just so cool. It's just so cool to read into it, just to look into it and just watch. Like, we're kind of weird. We're all weird, man. Look at the way they do their hands and their lips and their eyebrows and their facial expressions. Like, it's just cool to appreciate those little things that you completely overlook because your mind is so stimulated in some other area that doesn't freaking matter. So long walks in nature, I already talked about that. Essentially just being there, seeing the squirrels and the birds and even the bugs. It's like, Jesus Christ, fighting me. like you don't let things bother you as bad because your mind isn't completely full of junk. Like, you're able to detox your mind and just see everything around you and just feel everything that we're supposed to feel, And this is, this point right here was very difficult for me, and that is to truly become comfortable with your own thoughts in your own head. Like, the concept is so simple. It's like, what do you mean? Like, you're always in your head. Try it. Put your freaking phone down. Don't listen to no music, no TV, no nothing. Sit there in your thoughts. In your car, I don't care. Go for a walk. Which, if you go for a walk, you just feel better. Like, especially without anything, your phone or music or anything, you just feel better. But if you just sit still, try it. Go sit down somewhere on a beach or something and just sit there. And a lot of people, man, even me especially, man, you're like, your mind, like, your thoughts just wander all over the place and you start to create bad things, like you just start to think in a negative way a lot of times. It's like, oh, I'm too fat, I'm too this, I'm too that, the world's ending, like. But that's something we need to get rid of. And if you get rid of your phone and social media, you realize the world is not ending. Like, this isn't a bad place to live and be. This is a great time to be alive. But somehow the news and social media convince us that it's all ending and every day is scary and bad and blah blah blah. And I'm not saying you shouldn't protect yourself. I am a concealed carrier. Trust me. I protect myself, and I do assume the worst in a lot of situations, depending on where I go. But also at the same time, like, this is beautiful. This is amazing. Everything's cool here. Like, I don't know. I just think being alone in your head should be a pleasant place to be, because we live our entire life inside of our head, right? How we interpret the world, how grateful or non-grateful we are, how excited or not excited, how happy or not happy we are. Like, it's all in here, really, truly. And if you never set aside time to actually live inside your head and change the way you look at all this, it could be a miserable place. And this is why people commit suicide, because they can't overcome their own minds, because they look at the external world and say, it's not fair, I can't put up with this world anymore, and they never learn how to cope with the disaster that life is sometimes, or how crucial, how hard life is, because it is. And no matter if you have social media or not, life is freaking hard, and it's unfair, and the world is a freaking savage sometimes, you know. So I've learned to enjoy music a lot better. Like, music is my stimulation now, you know, like, it stimulates certain feelings, and I get chills from music now. And I truly just sit back and I'll put on my favorite song and just, oh my God, oh man. It's like just so beautiful. Like, the instruments, the voice, the words, it's just amazing, you know. I sound like a freaking hippie. It's okay. But let me just go through some of these. So I enjoy walking, running, working out, bike rides. I enjoy them a lot more. Like I said, I'm just present. I'm there. I appreciate the struggle when I'm running or working out. I just feel every little muscle. I feel every little thing. And I'm not worried about posting pictures of my workout. I'm not worried about posting how awesome the beach is or my bike ride is, just to get other people to say, oh my God, so awesome, you know. And I talked about this earlier, but like learning how to create my own goals based off of what is actually important to me. You know, I used to always think I want to be rich and I want to own this car and this house, and nothing wrong with that. But I was only creating those goals inside my head because that's what looks important online. I'm like, if you have a car and perfect teeth and you're healthy and six pack and all this stuff and you're making really good money, then those are worthwhile goals. And not to say they're not, but my goals are totally different now. I don't even think in those same terms anymore. And that's a radical change within the last couple months, not even years, just in the last couple months. I've radically shifted the way I think about everything. And that's because I'm open and I'm not, if I'm unhappy, if I don't like something, I don't just put up with it. I question it and I say, why do I not feel good? Like, our inner voice, our subconscious mind tries to give us hints and tries to tell us things, and typically we ignore it. But if you just acknowledge it sometimes, like maybe you'll make changes that will improve your life, you know, a substantial amount. But anyways, I am truly disconnecting from opinions of others. Like, I don't care what anybody else thinks about anything, about my lifestyle, what I look like, my opinion on things. I don't care at all. And that's how it should be. And I'm discovering new ways of thinking. I already kind of covered that a little bit, but I just question everything. I'm like, am I truly happy? And by the way, I don't know, I'm going to go in the future videos, I'm going to go into different topics, but I've changed my definition of happy. I've changed my goals. I've changed everything I think, and I'm constantly reevaluating it, because I don't believe in just choosing one thought pattern and staying that way forever, because maybe that thought pattern leads you into negative thoughts and negative interpretations of your situation, your family, and who you're supposed to be. So I'm always trying to stay open-minded, but also think critically about my assumptions and my goals and all that stuff. I'm always trying to just listen to different viewpoints and maybe, you know, define my own criteria and my own desires, you know. And okay, this is the last point, really. And the biggest change I've made since really doing all this is I started to really dive deep into like ancient philosophy and just ancient ways of thinking about life, because we've been on this planet for millions of years and our brain has developed, and I think you'd be shocked by how similar we are to people even hundreds and thousands of years ago, like how similar our problems are. Okay, technology has changed, but we still had a lot of the same problems and same thought patterns from hundreds and thousands of years ago, and it's kind of mind-blowing. And I like to learn about Eastern philosophy is very interesting, which is China and all this European thoughts and stuff on the east side of the world. It's crazy how different they interpret the world versus the Western, North America and stuff, like Canada, all this stuff, like the different ways, but also a lot of the similarities as well. So Taoism, Buddhism, Stoicism, all these isms, all these things that I've learned have really helped me enjoy life in a totally different way. Like the version of myself 2, 3, 4 months ago to today is like a lot more tranquil, like calm, peaceful. Like I don't know how to explain it, but like learning about these ancient philosophies, Eastern philosophies, just different, like psychology, human behavior, like our deepest desires, like biological desires and stuff, and just learning about the red pill community when it comes to intergender relationships, like sexual desires and all these, like learning about biology, psychology, philosophies. And I would say, believe it or not, Taoism, which is Taoism, not D. It can be D, but Taoism is a really interesting way of thinking. And Buddhism, I'm not a Buddhist and I'm not religious, but I just look at these things as a practice, like a way to interpret the world. I'm just studying different thought patterns. So Stoicism, Taoism, Buddhism are all things that like intrigue me a lot. Like I learn a lot from these things, and these three different philosophies have taught me to become more still and not be so busy-minded and letting my mind just wander all over the place. And it's taught me to be present, to be grateful, to gain wisdom from others, to be calm, and just all around peaceful. So that's pretty much it for the video. I know it's long as shit, so if you've watched this all the way, you're the real MVP. I'm not going to ask you to subscribe or like or do any of that stuff. It doesn't matter. I just want to put my thoughts out there and just kind of talk about the evolution of what I go through and how I interpret the world and why social media sucked for me and why I can't picture myself getting back on there anytime soon. And I don't really care. And I don't regret doing it. And I've been, I would say, 300% happier since I got off of it. Truly, truly, I feel amazing. And I feel just awake, like I woke up from some crazy dream. I felt like I'm just, wow, like everything just blows my mind nowadays. Even the smallest things, just waking up, just a fresh brewed cup of coffee. The aroma is just like, wow. I just kind of want to de-stimulate my mind from the normal patterns of today, Luckily, I was in a generation, I'm 26, so I didn't have a cell phone until like 8th grade. So up until that point, how old are you in 8th grade? 13, 14? Okay, before that, like 13, like from 0 to 13, I didn't have a cell phone. I didn't have social media. I did have MySpace, but I got on a computer every once in a while when I got home. But for the most part, my mom's like, get your ass outside and go play. And luckily, I was in a neighborhood that was safe. We could ride our bikes all over the place and play football and get dirty as hell. I made mud holes with my cousin and ride bikes and four-wheelers through the mud holes. And I would go like shoot birds, which was questionable. But, the whole point was just I was just outside and not letting the phone control me. And I'm so thankful that I grew up a part of my life without it because I didn't even play video games. Okay, we did have video games, but I just didn't even play video games till high school. I started playing Call of Duty in high school, but up until that point, I didn't care about that shit. And I'm so thankful for that because a lot of children and just people in general these days don't even know what life is like without all this technology and all this stimulation that we have from advertisers and these social media companies that don't want you to get off their applications. And sometimes we need to detox and just de-stimulate our minds, and it almost like recalibrates the way we think, and like we start to focus on things that actually matter. So anyways, that's it, guys. See ya.